Hey there, welcome to 101 Intro to Modeling in Motion. I'm sure there are a number of you who are coming in with zero experience with Maya, and so I want to take a few minutes and talk about how Maya projects are structured and how we manage them, because it's very different if you're used to programs like Word or PowerPoint or Photoshop or some of these other applications where when you bring in other elements, whether it's a video file or a photo or something like that, it kind of gets embedded in the file itself, and so all you have to do is carry around that one file with you. And Maya works very differently. Maya projects aren't necessarily contained to one file. You can have multiple files. Many times you'll even have scenes and assets broken up into different files to keep things kind of separate and simple. So you might have your character in one file, you might have a prop in another file, you might have a set in another file, and then you bring them all together into this kind of like master scene file to create the shot or the effect or whatever it is that you're looking to do. And that's just scene files. It's just geometry. We're not even talking about things like image textures or videos or other data that we might need in our scenes as well. And so the way Maya works is, instead of embedding those assets into the file itself, what it does is it links them in. And so to make sure that those files stay together, Maya has this concept of a project folder. This is going to save your life in this class because you're going to be often moving your Maya projects around, whether it's from your personal computers to the lab computers or the lab computers to your personal computers. Even sharing files between each other, it's going to become really important to understand how to manage your assets and keep everything together. So when someone else goes to load your file, when I go to grade your file, if you are trying to move it to somewhere else so you can work on it, all of your stuff will be there. So let's take a look at what I mean by a Maya project. We have a blank scene open, and if you're sitting down for the first time, you're getting ready to start a new project, the first thing you need to do is create a Maya project. I do that by going to File, Project Window. And that gives me this little pop-up here. At the very top, there are two things that we're going to want to play around with. The first is the current project setting, and then the second is the location. You don't have to worry about anything that's below because we're not really at a point where we care about changing any of these. The defaults will work just fine. So when I'm creating a new project, I'm going to hit the New button, and that's going to unlock these two fields for me. And so in the top one, I'm going to name it My First Maya project. And now I need to tell Maya where it is going to live. And so that goes here. I just click this little folder icon, and then I can find my way to somewhere on my computer where this project is going to be. I recommend that if you're on a personal computer, make some kind of a folder, whether it's in your documents folder or however you want to structure your files, just for your Maya projects. Maya comes with a default project folder. If you go to your documents, go to Maya, go to projects. This is where Maya by default likes to look for your projects. It has a default project set up, so if you haven't done anything, Maya kind of defaults to this. I don't recommend using the default project because it can very easily become just very busy with files. You can have files from many different things that aren't necessarily actually related to each other all in one place. So try not to use the default project folder as much as you can. But you can certainly use this Maya projects folder here to store your files. You can do it on a separate hard drive, whatever makes sense to you. But what I'm going to do here, let's pretend I'm in the lab. I can't rely on the lab to actually save my files because oftentimes the labs will just randomly wipe themselves. And so what I will do is I will put it for now on my desktop, knowing that before I leave for the day, I'm going to grab this whole folder and I'm going to drop it on my hard drive. So all I have to do is select my desktop, hit select, and I'm good to go. So I hit accept. I'm ready to start working. I can add things to my scene. I can work on whatever it is that I'm doing. And when I am happy with it, I'm going to save my file. I recommend doing this often because Maya, like many advanced programs, is super finicky and it's prone to crashing. And so it's in your best interest to save often because you don't want to be in a situation where you just worked for 2, 3, 4 hours and suddenly all of that is gone. And so I just hit Control S on my keyboard. You can also go to the File menu and do it that way too. But you'll notice it brought up a Save As dialog just like you would see in like a Word document. But take a look at where it put me. I'm in that Maya project folder that I created. There's this little scenes folder here, and that's what Maya looks for when it goes to save and open scene files. So part of why Maya projects are so important is because Maya is making a lot of assumptions under the hood about where things are. And that's great because as artists, we just want to focus on the art and we don't want to have to think about the underlying asset management part of it. So as long as our project folder is set up properly, it will be a lot less work on our end. I'm already in my scenes folder, so I will just name this my awesome scene. We will save it. And I want to show you now what's actually happening. On my desktop here, I have this My First Maya Project folder. This is the folder that we just created. And if I open it up, you'll see that there are a ton of subfolders in here. And you don't necessarily have to understand why it's creating all of these right now, but there are a few really important ones that we're going to use a lot in this class. The first is this images folder. This is where Maya tries to save all of your rendered images. The next one is the scenes folder. This is where all of your Maya scene files are going to live. You can see if I go into it, there's my awesome scene, which is the file that I just saved. And then the third is the source images folder. And this source images folder is where all of your textures will live. So let's say I was working on my scene. I saved it, I brought it home with me. It's on my hard drive. And now that I'm at my home computer, I'm going to open Maya. But you don't want to just open your Maya file and start working because there's no guarantee that Maya actually knows where your project is. It may not be in the last place that you put it, especially if you're moving it between computers, hard drives, that kind of thing. And so you need to tell Maya where the project is before you can even start working on anything. I'm going to go into Maya. I'm going to go to File, Set Project. This option is right underneath the project window that we opened earlier. But instead of opening the project window, going to Set Project will give me a new pop-up that lets me find where that project folder is. So all I have to do is find my way there. Luckily, it's right here for me. So I'm going to select my first Maya project folder, hit Set, and now Maya knows where all of my assets are. So I can start opening a file. It'll drop me right into the scenes folder for that project, and I can grab the scene that I want. Now I can keep working knowing that all of my links, all of my connections will work exactly as I expect. Now let's say I want to add an image texture to this file. The first thing you may try to do is download an image from the internet or something, or maybe pull it off of your camera or your phone, and then just open Maya, try to add a new material, and then just link it in from wherever it is. Maybe you go to your downloads folder, your documents folder or something, which is kind of what we're used to when we're working with things like Photoshop or, PowerPoint or something like that. But like I said, Maya really needs to kind of keep everything self-contained. And so what we're going to do instead is go to our Maya project folder and go to that source images folder because this is where every texture needs to live. So I'm just going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to create a new File Explorer window. I'm just hitting Control N on my keyboard. And I'm going to go find that texture. I downloaded one earlier. So if I go to my downloads here, let's say this is the file that I want to bring into Maya. Maybe I'm making a poster or something. So I'm going to take that file and I'm just going to drag it over into my Maya project. So now it lives in that source images folder within my Maya project folder. Now what I can do is go back to Maya, go to the material that I created, and I go to add my texture. And when I go to load it, Maya will automatically drop me into that source images folder, and I can just grab the file, hit open, and move on with my day. The beautiful thing about Maya using these self-contained projects is now that I have all of these assets linked together, working together, all I have to do is move this folder around and everything will follow with it. This is especially important when we're submitting things to My Courses, for example, because you want to be able to combine everything together and upload them. So when your project gets graded, it gets the best possible grade because nothing is missing. And so that's Maya projects in a nutshell. This concept is really important, and I really want you guys to internalize this because it won't only make your life easier, it will become a really good habit for you to take into future classes. That's it for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.